Welcome to the Back Office Show, your peek behind the privacy curtain of successful healthcare operations. Get ready to learn how every bedpan is a potential gold mine in every staff meeting, a strategic summit. All right, I'm getting a little carried away here. Get ready to learn from the grandmasters of healthcare, their secrets for success. And now, let's welcome your host, Steve Shane.
Guys, welcome back. I missed you too. I know we didn't do an episode in a while, but we have a good one for you today. Welcome, Meir K. Needs no introduction. Meir, how are you?
Fantastic. So good to be here. Thank you for having me. This is such an exciting podcast and conversation we're about to have.
I am so excited. I should make a correction. I said everybody knows you. You don't need an introduction. Nobody knows half of what you're up to, Meir. People know you either like from a lot of the content, amazing content that you put out, or a lot of the other stuff you're into. But let's hear from you yourself. How do you help people? What do you do? What is Meir busy with? If we have time for all of it.
I'm glad you asked. Wow. I mean, it's been a journey to be offering what I have to offer today. And what it is, in short, is I create experiences. I create transformational experiences through online portals or through in-person experiences and offsites and retreats where people get to step in feeling one way or experiencing life in a certain way, seeing life through a certain prism, through a certain perspective, maybe feeling a certain way, and a limiting belief in how they interact in their work life or their personal life, being a CEO or being an employee or being a father or mother, a brother or sister. And through these experiences, people tend to see themselves in a new light, see the world in a new way, and are able to show up in a more powerful way so they can have a better impact for themselves, for their people in their life, on a spiritual level, an emotional level, and a mental level. And so this is all done through men's retreats, couples retreats, offsites for companies, workshops within corporate settings.
I know people firsthand that have seen that transformational experience from attending one of your events. So I know it's true. I don't know how you figured out that this is what you're really good at. How do you know, like, this is my lane. This is like what I like to do and I'm good at it.
It's a great question. I mean, since the beginning of time, life is so fun and interesting, and with its ups and downs, everything I've done till now professionally and otherwise has led me to this moment in time. It's all been like sharpening my tools. Some people know me from my viral videos that I was doing about 8-10 years ago. And all those videos, what I was doing there was bringing people closer to their own humanity. There were fun, interactive ways, engaging with people on the street, man the street, asking people questions or creating scenarios, experiences, whether it was jumping a bed in New York City or high-fiving people while they're waiting for cabs in New York. These all pull people out of their day-to-day, right? You and millions of people. And from there, it led me to getting more creative ideas and connecting with people from all different walks of life. Combined with my own interest in psychology and the human experience, I went to train in different settings to create sharpen different skills and tools of communication, of conflict, of what goes on beyond why we make decisions and how we interact with people, defense mechanisms and such. And combined with that and play, I was able to bring in all these different skills and talents that I think God has gifted me, and to be able to create not just experiences on the street for 2 or 5 or 20 minutes for people, strangers. I'd be able to take all those different skills and experiences and start creating multi-day or a few hour experiences where people are able to really drop in deeper within their own self, build deeper connection and trust with one another. And this again, goes on for either personal relationships or otherwise. And it just was over years. It's not overnight. This has been 10 years in the making. And to be able to now feel in a beautiful flow of life's purpose for myself is insanely powerful and quite exciting.
I love it. I love that you use the word experience also, because there's no other way to put it of what you're giving people. You're giving them an experience, but that transformation is amazing. I'm just coming to mind. I didn't mention this to you actually on our brief call before, but do you remember, speaking of your videos on the street, that you and I were supposed to record a video on the street? Do you remember what happened with that?
What happened with that?
So good you don't remember. I could totally make it up. No, but what happened is we were supposed to do it in the city, promoting a particular thing. And on my way to the city, I had car trouble and my car broke down and I had to get it towed. And you said, without even thinking, no problem, I'll just record it. We know exactly what we're going to do. And you made the entire video solo. Instead of being supposed to be a whole different format, in a second, you changed the whole thing and you just went with it. And I was blown away.
Oh, well, thanks, man. Now that you mention it, I do come back to mind. And yeah, life is it's curveballs, and the plan is always changing, and we think we're in control. But I think it's how we react to it in the moment, and if we're able to play right with the experience. I think there's a lot of seriousness, and there's a time to be serious. But I think bringing in play, icebreakers, engagement with the child within, no matter what the setting is, builds incredible opportunity to build more trust and excitement towards whatever life may be bringing at the moment. And like you did mention, yes, experiences are important, but the word transformation is huge. Everything I like to do is experiential, it brings people into the body, into the moment. And so some people may think, the experience of eating ice cream is so fleeting. The word experience can be like, what's the grounded way of how it integrates into my life? And what I found and what people I've worked with have replied back to me is that it impacts their life in a very meaningful, deep way, which sometimes surprises them in how they show up in a conversation or how they just walk a little differently in the world, how they see something and how they process whatever may have triggered them in the past to a different outcome. So don't I would say one can be quite surprised by what could happen in a short period of time with intention and with the right environment.
I totally agree. And I happen to think that you're not just giving them that one-time experience, and we can talk about it more, but a lot of the training and the sessions that you can give, let's say in the corporate world, go way beyond that one burst of flash experience, but it can actually be continued ongoing with continued sessions. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There could be a one-off opportunity to come in and build deeper trust or create an environment of trust for a conversation to be had that's been waiting to be had for some time, for people to see each other in a new light through play, through games, through different workshops. And then, like anything else, there could be ongoing support, whether it's monthly or otherwise, to keep that fire burning, to have those check-ins, that accountability as well. I think the world is starting to recognize and realize, and more leaders are realizing that there may be a lack of skills in how to connect for themselves, but also how people perform a lot better when they're excited to come back into the office space, or even if they're working from home, to feel more connected and not just a number, not just to do a task. People are becoming more aware to their emotional bodies. The word somatic is buzzing everywhere, right? To be into the body, whether it's through therapeutic modalities and otherwise. And so I think those who are going to have stronger teams and stronger cultures are ones who are recognizing and bringing me in, essentially, and others who do offer things like me, to not just have, we have to check this off for HR, but people who realize that if they want more from their teams and to have a deeper, better impact and more longevity, is to invest in that person, to invest in that team. And thank God I have a lot of experience and expert in that field.
It's so true. People, it used to be, and you're saying a lot of these words are buzzwords now. It used to be that people look at culture and all these things yeah, just get the job done. And we'll worry about that warm, fuzzy feelings whenever we need to make like an event. People realize now that it is so valuable to have your employees in a better energy, happier, more productive, because it's actually going to help you financially in your business. If they're going to be more interested in being there and more happy, they're going to be more productive. It actually, the math works out also, What
I've come to realize is that for companies that brought me back multiple times now, I'm like the unofficial employee, a part of the team, and the smiles come on once I walk into the room. But more importantly, is I've been seeing these companies grow year by year, and especially in the healthcare system, retention is really hard to keep people on board and to keep them engaged. And I just seen these companies continue to grow, and people are with them year after year after year. And I believe, and what they've shared with me, is that being that they invest so much time and effort into their teams, and whether it's around parties or workshops or helping build their skills or motivation, and they bring various types of facilitators and workshop leaders into their company, not just me alone. I just see the amount of care they have and that pays back in dividends. And so that's something that I think I've been inspired to see leaders step into and invest more into their teams.
But let me give you some pushback, because I know I've heard both sides of the coin, and people say, yeah, so we could spend money and bring in a facilitator, do a workshop for the day, but like 2 days later, we're back to just regular whatever. It's like, should we order pizza, or should we get somebody to come in and, play a game with us? How do you explain to somebody that has that default in their head that that's what they think it is, that it's so much more? Because there are definitely a lot of those naysayers out there that they can't take the money out of their pockets to pay for something unless they see the ROI for it. How do we show them the ROI?
100%. I mean, there's definitely, you can go ahead and go to low hanging fruit, sort of like you get a dopamine hit by scrolling on your phone. What do you mean? I get a dopamine hit by doing that. Why not just go? Well, because there's two different productivity. You could just check a box off and bring a smile and a quick little buzz to your team by bringing some pizza in, or bringing in something that's sweet and nice, like a scroll on the phone. Or you could still get a dopamine hit, which is like going for a marathon or hiking a mountain or going for a walk for that's more 2 hours. That's a bit of a push. And you get that hit. That dopamine hit, that win lasts a lot longer in the body. No matter what you do energetically, that's where they're with you. When a leader, when a CEO hires someone like myself, or invest in their team in a way that's not just a pizza party, for example, or just bringing sushi for lunch. Oh, everybody's excited. Let's get back to work. When they invest just a little bit more into it, it's not just the games. I mean, game is play. It's important. Like it says in Gemara. I don't know if your people are Jewish or listeners, but you open up when you captivate your audience. There was a rabbi who would go ahead and open up with a joke. Right, and when you open up that joke, then the deeper teaching could land a lot more better for the student. So yes, play is important, but we don't stop just there. Right,
it opens up the heart and mind, and then you can jump in from there.
And then you share that deeper knowledge, that deeper skill, which they now feel empowered with, that they could take out of their own pocket, not a hand holding, and go ahead and use that day to day. And so, yes, like anything else, it takes time and repetitiveness is to go ahead and to build a habit. However, it's night and day between scrolling on your phone to get a hit of dopamine, or going for a walk, or calling a good friend. Those two are, you could say, oh, they're both dopamine hits. Not the same case. One has more quality, more weight to it, while the other one will be quite fleeting and pass in time.
That's a very, very good differentiation, and I hear the analogy very well. I'm curious, from your experience connecting with people, and when it's employees or whether it's managers or anybody like that, what is the kind of personality that's the most closed, that is the least open to you trying to connect with them? I don't know how to explain this more than
who's the hardest to build trust?
Yeah, building trust, because if they're not willing, then it's very, very hard. You can start with play and you can try to move into, something that's more of a quality point. But if they're not open to it, and I'm trying to understand if there's any specific personality type or kind of people that it's the most challenging with.
I mean, listen, there's always that person who's like writing the check, could always be like, what did I spend my money on? You know what I mean? Like the one time I was on an offsite and the CEO, I saw him, like his body language was like, hands over the chest, closed off. And I noticed it, and everybody, we were starting to warm up in the group. But as the day went by, his body language started shifting. The way he communicated with me was softening. And at the end, he was just very honest and straight with me. And he said that initially I had my doubts about you. I brought you on because someone else saw you somewhere and they heard about you and they trusted them. But at the end of the day, after half the day we were together, he said that shifted for him. And when that shifted for him it was in the transition between after the warm up, and then we started to, there was a pivot. I had one thing planned, and then he wanted to move ahead with something else. And I went along with his idea, infusing what I also had planned, and we just created something special for them. And it was exactly what they needed. So it wasn't like, it was my way, and you hired me, and it's my way. And I mean, I trusted it was his team, and he's the CEO. And so bringing in what he knew about his team and bringing what I had planned, we fused something together, and it really benefited his team. So I think there was a lot of just synergy there, and lack of ego and humility. And together we sort of co-created something very powerful for his office. So just bringing that as an example, sometimes it could be the CEOs, it's from who's writing the check. Sometimes it's that person, right? There's always some, maybe some office manager will come over to me and say, "Oh, he's a hard one to crack," and sharing from his own experience, and maybe that's his dynamic with that person specifically. But I'm a whole new person, and it's a whole new day, and so I don't have those preconceived notions about this person, and so sometimes the world reacts, or people react to you because that's the image you put on them, and so you know what? I'm going to do that. There's always like a little kid inside us. I know for myself, sometimes growing up, I would, dafka not be happy in front of, let's say, a teacher because they upset me the day before, so I'm not going to give the satisfaction of them seeing me in a good mood. Okay, shkoyach, so there may be that dynamic in the office where someone felt slighted, so they're not going to show up in a certain way because they don't want to give someone a certain privilege. Anyways, all to say is that I try not to put anybody in boxes. I show up, and whatever's in front of me, that is the good information. It's not like, oh, there's a good challenge here. Someone's having a hard time being onboarded or going with the flow. There's a whole lot of information there being said already. What is it? Is it lack of curiosity? Is it lack of safety? Is it that they spoke up once and they were placed, put back down? And so there's many different ways to skin the cat. And everything that's being shown up is good. It's all good, and from there we can learn and grow.
That's nice. So you're looking at it as a clean slate, and if there's that means there's something to work on. If they have an issue or they're concerned about something, great. Let's figure this out and let's work through it.
Yeah, there are moments in time where people want to just have a good time and bring me in to MC a good time or run some sort of game. Fantastic. But also there are times where there's obviously a team that's bringing me in because they want to work through something together and they don't perhaps have the skills or the know-how. And so to come in and think everything's going to be all great and dandy. Also, I'm a new guy. I don't have any cashier connection with the people here. So it has to be earned. And I totally respect that. Just like in my own life, right? Trust and connection needs to be earned and takes time. So too here. And so that's all part of the job. And if it was otherwise, then that would tell me a lot about a person too. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't have any defenses up or if they were trusting too quickly.
Right.
Also, not necessarily the most healthiest character trait. We need to feel each other out to maneuver in this world.
That's a very good point. I want to get a little bit deeper with you, talk specifically about the healthcare world, which a lot of our listeners are from. I want to talk about recovery and addiction a little bit. So if you're ready to get a little deeper, I want to dive in, if that's okay.
Man, my name is Meir Deeper Kamlinson. Let's go.
That's what it is, right? That's your middle name. Nobody knows about it on the birth certificate only. Now they know. So obviously, you mentioned you've done events for healthcare. How did you get connected with the healthcare world, and do you recall where that started? I know there are some significant companies that we know about that you've worked with, but how'd that start?
Yeah, it's the divine plan. One thing led to the next. As I was pivoting from the content world and the video world, the MC world, a company reached out to me. Maybe already 5 years ago now, Autumn Lake. Big shout out to Autumn Lake. And one of their teammates reached out to me asking me if I would, yeah, they're fantastic. It's so much. I love it.
Went too
you
long.
got the sound effects. Standing ovation. And they reached out to me. They knew I emceed the dinners and bar mitzvahs at the time. And they said, hey, would you be able to MC our holiday party that we're having? It was, thousands of people. And it was yeah, let's go for it. I love that kind of thing. And so I came in, I emceed their holiday party, and they brought me back year after year. And they from there they expanded to bring me into some of their leadership retreats, where for about 250 people to MC and also lead other things at that retreat. And so I started developing a connection. That was my foot into the door into the healthcare world. And I couldn't ask for a better company to have done that because they were so kind to me and were able to give me that opportunity to prove myself and to share my skills and gifts to their companies. And we've been still working together till today. They've launched some new retreats and offerings for their company. And when talk about company, that's one of the companies that come to my mind when I think about investing in their team in major ways, the grand scale of how they do things. And I understand not every company can, invest and have certain budgets. But that being said, it all started from the heart. It started from the top. A person, CEO, a leader who wants to and invest in their team, and by gosh, how the team has grown. And I think it's nothing short of the will and desire to see every person as a person, and to create an ethos of love and kindness, and obviously Israel to all the people that they serve, not just their patients and not just the people, but also every level and every person along the way up the ladder. And so that was my way in, and that's how I've seen so much of the lessons that I infuse in what I offer to other companies as well.
Very amazing. It's amazing to hear. I didn't know. So they kind of found you, and that's where it came from. Have you ever been in a healthcare facility, like a skilled nursing facility, or have you ever worked inside one? I'm curious. There's no right answer. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, of course. A lot of my, I have been to them, and a lot of my offerings so far have been in offsite. So usually the companies, when they go offsite, they go to take over a retreat. They go somewhere, either fly somewhere or drive somewhere a couple hours away. I've been brought into those scenarios in that regard. And then, of course, I've walked the halls and I've been there and I've shook the hands and saw the people that different companies serve. And it's a wonderful and very needed sector. And I feel connected to it because, just growing up, I would go to, different nursing homes and different spaces to bring smiles and
Sure.
little gifts in school. And as an adult now, and as I see my own, people, my own life getting older, and, it's such a sensitive and chapter in one's life, and how our loved ones are treated and how that's being done. If you're just another bed or something more to that, it makes a difference to how I've seen how potential not just patients but customers, go ahead and decide where they want to go and send their loved ones to. I'll say one more thing. What I've seen Autumn Lake do well is that they're also interested in the community that they're serving. It's not just their own company per se, but who they serve as well in the outside their buildings it's really powerful and really something that I've been inspired to do as someone who did not be involved in the corporate world before, and just walk in this earth and give a smile to somebody or get to know the people that I frequently visit different shops to. It's these are my community. These are the people that I not only
you want to enhance the environment around you.
Exactly, and you never know. It's not just for the fact of what can I get out of it, but it's this is the place where I'm laying my head at night. This is the place that I walk the streets. I have a responsibility to contribute to these streets and pick up that piece of garbage I'm walking on the street, to smile at that neighbor and to just enhance the environment that I find myself living in. And so that's something that they do well, and that's something I think a lot of.
And by the way, people that do that also enjoy life a lot more, just as a side benefit.
Exactly. Right? Well, the more you give, the more you get, and that's something that we know, and that's something that's a very Jewish value. The more you give, the more you'll receive, for sure.
So if you've been in a nursing facility, you've seen it's, like you said, it's very sensitive. There's care for a lot of people's parents there, and it's very thankless. Staff are working there, crazy shifts, crazy hard. They're not always getting the recognition. And when you see them on an offsite, they're people that are strung tight on tight schedules and a lot of demands. There's a lot of regulation that goes on from the state, and it's very difficult to get them to really work on growing and building because of the fact that they don't really have the brain space for it. And that's why it's amazing what you do, that you're able to do that, because it really is a big shift for people that are working in a facility to just take a step away and really open up to things that'll help them, but are difficult to approach.
Absolutely. And those are very fortunate opportunities that I get to meet people on those multi-day offsite occasions and retreats. And yet there are moments in time where it was officially an offsite, but it was only really for just one day, half a day. And where I'm getting at is that sometimes if you think, if I'm a company, if I'm in HR, or if I want to offer this to my company, I don't have the budget or time to do a multi-day offsite. Even bringing in somebody for a couple hours to just shift the schedule, that little surprise, that little pattern interrupt, that, okay, now I do this, now I do that. You just break the hamster wheel for a moment. And in that moment of surprise, you bring in a workshop that lifts a person up, that empowers them, that makes them feel seen and heard and part of a collective. that will last not just that day or week, a month, but it will do something to that person. Just like someone who's in e-commerce or someone who wants to like invest in product development and make sure that that product is even better and that zipper flies a little bit better, or the colors are a little bit brighter in the package, whatever that may be. How much more so for the people who you're dealing with? If you're in the people's business, especially in recovery addiction facilities or healthcare, you're dealing with people. You're not just behind a screen, and you're not just buying and selling low, selling high in China product and shipping container. You're dealing with people, and so how much more so to invest in the people who are helping those people? It's just a line of heart to heart to heart, and so that vibration, that energy, that investment you put into your person, your team, is going to bring back incredible amounts of power and success. And what I would say is also your finances will grow as well from that. So it's a beautiful sector of this work. I personally love servicing the healthcare and recovery industries because I've been touched by them in my own personal life, and the more time I spend into it, I just love people. I just love people. I couldn't just do work through a screen. Like I love being in the place with people.
We picked up on that a little bit.
Yeah. And so people who've created companies, who've created opportunities for more people to help more people. It's like, let's go. How can I help you more so you can help more?
Amazing. And I want to jump into what you mentioned. So in the recovery world, just to give people who are listening a little bit of perspective, the need for care in this space is immensely growing. But I saw a stat that staggered me when I saw it the other day, which is that 20% of people have an addiction problem, which means 1 in 5 people are suffering from addiction. And guess how many people actually get the cure? Of those 20%, how many of those actually seek out help?
Man, I'll say under 5.
20% of that. So it's really 4%, right under 5 of the people that need the help are actually getting it. And thankfully the stigma is going away, but that need for more ways that we can help these people is immensely strong. You said, you understand that. And that's a space that I'm in, and that's a space that I'm living and breathing. And there's a lot that needs to be done there, but what do you have to say about just that point alone?
It's wonderful that we were talking about that, and the word recovery, the word addiction can be it's so taboo, and it's opening up, it's blossoming, and that beautiful line about how the opposite of addiction is connection. It's not sobriety, it's actual connection. That is the cure to addiction. Is so true, and I've seen that in my own life, in my own recovery process. And that's another reason why I'm so connected to helping those who are on that journey. I have firsthand experience, and through my own experiences and life and growth and skill sets, there's something very personal about that. And I've seen friends and family members be able to grow from those limiting beliefs and cycles of destruction. And it's needed now more than ever. The isolation that takes place through these devices, through these phones, the addiction of the phones beyond just the other elements that are well known, is very much needed. And people are feeling more alone than ever because of phones and finding those right boundaries and the way to connect with people. So 4% is good, but it's nothing close to what we need. And there are ways out of that darkness. There are ways, more powerful ways to help those who are asking for the help, let alone reaching those who need it. But if people who are coming, who have those facilities, who have the access, who have people already in their spaces, there are incredible ways to bring more healing, to bring more recovery, long-lasting connection to those who need it most. And it's one of the communities that I love serving.
It's amazing, and it's a very good way that you put it, that it really comes from a lack of connection. People are lonely. Even when they're connected on social media, they're connected to thousands of people and followers, but they're really alone. And that's a challenge that actually, just remembering, didn't you put out a video, You're Not Alone, which I thought was phenomenal, by the way. Do you recall that video you put out? It wasn't a street walking. It was like you did it on stage, where you had like a clown thing on, and then right? It was like your life story or something.
Yes. Yeah,
See, I did my research.
You did very good, very good. It was a mic drop speech performance, and it was like a bit of a one-man show where the premise of it was about connection, about moving through the darkness of depression and finding connection and finding one's authentic voice. And I think there's a lot of people who are addicted to different things or behaviors or elements that there's a numbing the pain of authentic living and being seen. And there's so much we could unpack around what that is and how we can go about, doing a better job with that. But for me, on my journey, finding safe spaces to connect with, finding the right tools, finding somatic experiences to help move the energy, and of course, and finding real authentic connection, honesty, honest sharing, and accountability. I mean, it was a journey, and it's always a continuous journey, but it's possible. I'm living proof of that. And I've seen it time and time again. So anybody who may be even struggling right now, I just want to send out a message of hope that it's possible. That it's wherever you may find yourself, your darkest chapter and a chapter of your life is not your whole life. There's always a new page, and we can't base the whole book on just one chapter. And two, if you're someone who services the recovery space, I'd love to have a conversation with you and find ways to bring more meaning and more grounding, more connection, more healing to the people that you serve. It's such holy work. It's so important work, and the world is shifting, and to be part of that movement is truly a privilege and honor.
Amazing. Thank you so much for passing that message on to anybody that might be listening. You never know who's listening. I want to ask you one follow-up question before we move on to the last part, and that question is: You've been through this. You've seen what happens, what treatment and addiction and all that is like. Is there anything that you think is missing that the industry or providers or people that need the care are just not getting? And if only people were aware of this, if only people knew how to take advantage of this or do something a little bit better, you think that results would be better? And maybe there isn't. Maybe people are doing everything they can. I don't know. But I'm just curious with somebody that's been in the trenches.
It's a great question to be asking, and questions like these, as we continue to ask them, is so important because it's like, how can we do better? And that's a wonderful question to ask. So I want to celebrate all that's being done. Super important to celebrate and to recognize, awesome, better than 5 and 10 and 20 years ago. And then, what's better today? Well, there's more research and there's more modalities these days. I think the creating spaces that are just not a place for, this is where you go for a few weeks or months before you go back to work, but really bringing more power, bringing more resources to these safe places where people who are transitioning, whether it's from rehabs, or maybe they necessarily don't have to go to a rehab, but a home or a house or a campus where there are ongoing circles and somatic experiences like breath work and check-ins going on, skill sets being shared, keeping a focus on that connection, but also going more into the body. So there's a certain level of power in group sharing. And what I've also come to recognize and realize is that there's a lot of power and deeper transformation that happens and change when we go into the cellular system, into the nervous system, through the body, not through the mind, not through just the cognitive ways of connecting and realizing and awareness, but through the body awareness. And what I'm saying essentially is there's breath work and there's different exposures of the body, and there's there's of course psychodrama is quite popular in the recovery world, which is a very powerful tool that I use as well. But finding spaces where people, men and women, respectively, could go ahead and connect and really build strong community, and not just a place where they could rest their head and then check in, check out from work. That will be a major component to helping people transition back into life more, but also build those muscles of connection and that vulnerability of connection, of being seen, heard, that will support them as they move back move on into their life.
Makes a lot of sense. Whew. Okay, we don't have to talk about serious stuff anymore. Before we end this off, first of all, Meir, thank you so much for all the information you're giving us. I know people that are listening are going to really find this valuable, but we're going to end off with a game. We chose rapid fire as the game that we're going to do, which is I'm just going to shoot multiple choice questions to you, like this or that, and you're going to just shoot off which one you choose. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. It's only 10 questions, so it shouldn't be too long, but I might ask you why you answer certain answers, by the way. No phone for 3 days or no caffeine for 3 days?
No
They're
phone.
both addictions. No phone.
I'd rather no phone. I'd rather no phone. Yeah.
Yeah. What's a worse event, an overscheduled one or too chill?
Ooh, overscheduled.
Most people say that, by the way. I asked AI after to tell me like kind of Family Feud survey it, which one people would say, and everybody said that. What burn down staff? Do you fix the body or fix the mind first?
Ooh, body.
That's interesting because most people think, no, it starts, you have to have the right mindset, but you know that the way to get to the mind is through the body. Is that right?
Correct. Exactly.
Love
exactly.
it.
Shut off that mind, stop falling for the same loops and just go bypass the mind for a moment.
That is so good. I love that. New team, energize them or calm them?
Energize, then calm.
Love it. Okay, this we kind of covered. What's a better budget spend, a $20,000 keynote or a $20,000 retreat?
Come on now. A retreat, no doubt.
What happens for those salty employees that after the retreat, they just talk about the 3 things that didn't work out and they talk about it all year? Did you really get your money's worth?
100%. They're talking about it.
Okay, there you go. They're talking about it. Okay, here's a tough one. Addiction, disease or struggle? Also no right answer.
Yeah, it's. I would say a struggle. Or I mean, if I could just give a caveat, I like the dis-ease of how of Jim Carrey says it, right? A dis-ease. There's a dis-ease within one's body, right? It turns into a disease. When we hold on to anger or resentment or shame, it could actually physically turn into a disease within our body. People got clogged arteries, and people have heart attacks at 40 years old, and they have a stroke.
Wow, I never heard that.
So yeah, so I love that dis-ease. When there's a dis-ease and we hold on to that for too long, then actually could physically turn into a physical ailment that could literally kill us. And there's studies to show that behind. So I do believe that we're not born with these things in ourselves. I mean, that my belief system is that I think that a lot happens to us in life, the human experience, and there's so many components as to when that happens and how that happens, and the skill sets that we have, the environment that we're in when these things happen. And I also do believe that a person can transform themselves, break through certain cycles, reinvent themselves, which is more importantly, remember, because a soul, I believe, we all have a soul. We have this purity about us from childbirth that never goes away. And it's just remembering what we're connected to. Through recovery, I've gotten a lot more spiritual and led to more religious practice. And that being said, I do believe that there's a soul, we are whole and complete, and we get to remember that. And all the schmutz that's, has that covered up on us, okay, through different modalities and through different experiences, we can remember that power and move forth in life.
That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful. I have nothing more to comment. That was really nice. First step to recovery, awareness or action?
Awareness. We got to know the problem, and knowing the problem's half the cure.
Absolutely. Shake it out or breathe it out?
Woo! Both. When we breathe and we're shaking. I mean, it's somatic. Both. Absolutely both. I mean, you got to.
I'm going to do both, but like, which one do I do first?
Oh, I mean, breath, breath, sound, and movement. That's one of the things I say on my men's retreats. Breath, the 3 natural ingredients that can move energy is breath, sound, and movement. Breathing, making some sort of sound, and moving the body. Whether it doesn't necessarily be dancing per se, but just shaking it out, moving it out, breathing, making some sound. It resets the whole nervous system. 30 seconds of that, a minute of that, you're good to go.
Love it. I'd love to see that in action too. Willpower or surrender?
Ooh, man, surrender.
That's big of you. Biggest relapse trigger, stress or partying? What makes people relapse more?
Man, it depends where they are in their life, but stress.
No, I think that most people would agree to that. After me hitting you up with all these questions, do you need a break or do you need a drink?
I want to go for a run. That's
I actually would like to do that too. We should hook up. Meir, it was really a pleasure. I know now I'm not only saying goodbye to you, but goodbye to the here behind you. So goodbye as well to that.
Transformation. Listen, if you preach it, you got to become
Transformation
it.
Day.
You know what I'm saying?
There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, new beginnings, new chapter.
Amazing. You're a pleasure to talk to. You have so much to share. And I know we only touch on tip of the iceberg because I know there's so much more to you and so much more that you can offer. I'm telling anybody that's watching this or listening to this, connect with Meir because you will not regret it. I promise you, you will not regret it. There's so much that Meir can offer. But aside from that, a lot of the knowledge that you offered us about healthcare, recovery, addiction, and in general, how to motivate your employees, your staff, and how important that is. I think it's all so valuable, and I really appreciate that you made the time to join me today.
It's a privilege and honor. It's good to see you again, brother, and thanks for having me on. Really, thank you.